If you're studying for the CAPM exam, you are in the right place. In this video, we are going to go over Domain 1, Task 1 of the exam syllabus, which covers the following topics. Let's jump in and start with what is a project? A project exists for one reason only, and that is to create something new. It has a clear beginning, a clear end, and once the goal is achieved, it's done, meaning it's temporary in nature. For example, think about a bank that wants to launch a brand new mobile app. The challenge there is they can't just add it to someone's daily workload because the work is too big, too unique, and too temporary. So the bank forms a project with a team, a plan, a deadline, and a mission to build the app. And when the app is finished, the project ends. But here's where most people get confused and where PMI starts testing you in the exam. If a project is one effort, what is a program then? A program happens when multiple related projects must work together. The bank isn't just building one app, they also want to redesign their website. They want to roll out a new AI chatbot. They want everything to feel unified from a customer experience perspective. But if each project works alone, the customer experience becomes a mess. So the bank groups these related projects under one umbrella called a program and manages them together. By doing that, the value of the whole becomes bigger than the value of each individual project. That's the exam distinction PMI wants you to recognize instantly. And if you zoom out one more layer, then comes the portfolio. This is where strategy, investment, and priorities enter the picture. The same bank also has other major initiatives: modernizing branches, upgrading cybersecurity, improving data privacy. But they can't do everything at once. Money, time, and resources are limited. So, the leadership creates a portfolio, a collection of all projects and programs across the organization. The portfolio exists to decide which work matters most. If a project doesn't align with strategy, it doesn't get funded. This is the 30,000 feet perspective PMI wants you to understand regarding project, program, and portfolio. Projects versus operations. Let's clear up one thing PMI loves to test, and that is the difference between projects and operations. So pay attention to what I am about to share with you now. Building our mobile app that I just mentioned is a project because it creates something new. But once the app is built and the work is finished, someone must still run it, monitor transactions, respond to customers, and fix bugs. That ongoing work is known as operations. So here's the key distinction PMI wants you to remember. Projects change the business. Operations runs the business. One is change, and that is project, and one is run, and that is operations. If a task repeats every day, it is operations. If a task has a finish line, it is a project. This one idea alone will help you answer a ton of EM questions instantly when you're sitting for the exam. So remember that. Predictive versus adaptive approaches. Now that you understand the kind of work you're doing, the next question then becomes, how should you do the work? There are three main ways of doing work. One, predictive, meaning it's plan-driven. Predictive method works best when you already know exactly what needs to be built. But the challenge here is that there isn't much room for surprises. Everything must be clear and defined upfront. Think of a project with fixed requirements. Good examples of such projects are compliance-related projects, infrastructure upgrades, implementation of core banking systems. And the advantage here is that you lock down the plan early and follow it step by step. This is where PMI uses the phrase low uncertainty equals predictive approach. This method is also known as the waterfall method, adaptive or change friendly. You just heard about the predictive approach. But what if you are building something innovative where the final shape isn't clear yet? The challenge here is that in certain situations, you can't plan every detail upfront because things might change and they will change as you move forward with the project. That is when what you can do is you can break things into short cycles. When you do that, after each cycle ends, you get some customer feedback and then you adjust and you then release another cycle and then you get customer feedback and then you adjust as you go. This method is known as Agile. The whole value of this method is that it comes from flexibility of thought, not a defined fixed plan. You just heard about predictive, you also heard about Agile. And now the third one is hybrid, which is pretty much a real life scenario because most real life projects aren't purely predictive or waterfall or aren't purely agile. They are a combination of both because the difficulty there is some parts of a project are stable and well defined, but other parts evolve over time. And some specific examples of that are just taking the banking app as a reference point. If we talk about the core security features of the banking app, they are very well defined because their regulations and the security is very well defined as per compliance. So that's predictive. Whereas the user interface, where you're going to introduce new features or new functionality, that could be adaptive and agile based. So hybrid lets you use the right tool for each part of the job. Remember, from a CAPM exam perspective, this is a very common question. Keep the differences between predictive, agile, and hybrid very clear. Constraints, assumptions, risks, and issues. This is where most students get tripped up. So let's break it down to simple and easy to understand steps. Starting first with constraints. Every project, like anything in life, has boundaries. Typical boundaries are time, meaning it has to be done within a certain amount of time, and money, meaning there is a budget for it, and regulations, because most of the projects that involve money and are related with big corporations have regulations around it. So the difficulty there becomes that these boundaries or constraints limit to what you can do. And that's the main point here, which is the deadline is fixed or the budget is capped, and you must plan around those constraints. PMI wants you to keep one thing in mind as far as the exam is concerned. Constraints restrict choices, assumptions. Sometimes while we are running projects, as project managers, we move forward based on something we believe is true. But like everything else in life, assumptions can be wrong. And when they are wrong, they cause trouble. For example, the team assumes that the bank servers can handle the new app traffic, meaning once the app is created and it's put in production, The thousands of people that will use that app, that traffic can be managed by the current bank servers. We will only know that when the app actually goes live. This is why writing down assumptions is very crucial, and PMI expects you to track that, validate that, and revisit them. So remember that in the exam that whenever assumptions are brought into picture, the idea that you have to remember is write it down, validate, and revisit them. That's what PMI expects. Risks. Most people think risk means danger, but PMI sees it differently. In their world, risk simply means something might happen in future. Whether it's good or bad, only time will tell. And that is the risk. For example, a risk might be a competitor launches a similar app early before we are able to put our app in the market. That's a risk. In short, any future uncertainty is considered as a risk from a PMI perspective, and they want you to plan for it. Issues. Now let's discuss about what happens when the risk actually becomes real. It is no longer hypothetical. It is happening right now. For example, if the system actually crashes on the launch day because of the high app traffic, then that is what PMI defines as an issue. So remember, we just discussed risk. So risk is something that might happen in the future. Issue, on the other hand, is something that's happening right now. And this distinction between risk, which might happen in the future, and issue, which is happening right now, is a very important point you have to know from an exam perspective for the CAPM exam. And you need to clearly be able to differentiate between the two. So keep that in mind. Scope, your project map, that's what it is. Once you know the work, the approach, the risks, you need a very clear definition of what the project will and will not deliver. But when the scope is unclear, expectations get messy, deadlines slip, and budgets explode. So that's why scope is needed, because it answers the two main questions about a project. What work is included and what work is excluded. Clear scope ensures that there are fewer surprises, fewer arguments, and stronger project control. There can be two types of scope. A predictive scope, meaning in predictive projects, you define the scope's detail upfront. Changes are costly because everything is tightly planned in a predictive or a waterfall project. So for waterfall projects, PMI emphasizes that baselining the scope early in the cycle is good. Now there can be a second type of scope, which is the adaptive scope. In adaptive projects, you cannot lock everything down easily. Details emerge as you get feedback or discover new customer needs as you are executing the projects in an adaptive or an agile manner. You start with a high-level vision and refine the work through a prioritized backlog. This lets teams adapt fast without derailing the entire project. Why do projects exist? The main reasons projects exist are to bring meaningful change. After everything you have learned, the processes, the tools, the frameworks, what's the main point behind doing a project? People often forget this because they get lost in the paperwork, the checklist, the meetings. The main thing that the project does is it moves the organization from where it is now to somewhere better. So projects exist to create change that matters to an organization. And remember that for the CAPM exam. PMI calls this move from current state to future state, the project manager's compass. Delivering change isn't enough. You must guide people through it. By doing all that guiding, sometimes things can get stressful. and you want to take some shortcuts here and there, and they can be very tempting. To prevent that from happening, PMI defines 4 values that every project manager must follow. And those are: 1, responsibility; 2, respect; 3, fairness; 4, honesty. These values protect the project, the people, and your credibility as a leader. PMI considers ethics as an important process knowledge, and there will be questions on it, so remember that.